This is episode 172 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest. Oh, no, it's me. I am on for a solo episode today. I told you about it in the intro, so I don't need to go over it again. But this week you have just me. And as I'll tell you throughout the episode, I'm interested in your feedback on whether these solo episodes are worthwhile. This one specifically, I think, is going to be interesting because I'm in the middle of a transaction that I'm really excited about. I haven't done short term rentals. And when I say done, my sister really did all the work when we did them, but I haven't been involved directly with short term rentals in a long time. And now I'm getting back into it. I'm under contract pending inspections in 2 days from the date of this recording. Again, this will come out after inspections are over, and hopefully we're just cruising along to closing. But I'm going to go over my process, why I'm getting back into it, how I'm getting back into it, how I chose the market, what I did to do the market research, what I did to actually go and view properties, how I decided on the property that I'm getting. Again, it could all fail in the future, but either way, this episode is going to be important because one thing that I've always been good at is figuring out markets. And also, I have a risk tolerance that may be different from you. So as I go through it, you have to understand that I have more than 30 years in the game, but I did take a break really from acquisitions for a long time. And now I'm slowly scaling back up because I'm seeing opportunities in areas that maybe I didn't think about as much before. Short-term rentals are a lot of work, but the benefit of having this show in 172 episodes is that I've talked to some of the best people in the game on short-term rentals. I know I'm going to leave a few out, but let me just drop a couple names for you. You can go back and listen to these episodes. Bill Faith, Kenny Bedwell, Zoe Berghoff, Michael Chang. There's so many short-term rental specialists that I've talked to on the show who've given us all of their tips. Again, I probably left out like 14 because we've done so many good shows, but I started to get more excited about it because I started to see that for me, I'm going to go back to my roots and what my sister I did when we used to have short-term rentals that weren't properties that we just turned into short-term rentals. We were making acquisitions in places that we wanted to go. 2 or 3 of them were places where my sister lived, and then they eventually were either long-term rentals or short-term rentals. But then we made an acquisition at a place where we thought my sister's mom, my stepmom, was going to live. She didn't like it there, so we moved her to a smaller place. And then we were like, well, this is a good asset. Let's short-term rental it. And we did that a few different times. But as I said, I was never the worker on the short-term rentals, on the ones that we owned together. And I was really just a watcher of my sister doing it back in the old days, 20 years ago on Verbo and HomeAway for the Hamptons. So although I was a participant and although we owned properties together that were in short-term rentals, she was always the one handling everything and really the mastermind. And one day I'll get her on the podcast so we can talk about our history of inheriting properties from our dad, what we did with them, how we managed them together, why she's out of the game of real estate and not interested in getting back in. The place that I found is 2 lots away from a Super 8, which of course I inquired about and sent a note about it to Alexander Cartwright, who's been on the show from Hotel Shift. So we're going to talk about that. But I'll tell you how I ended up outside of Asheville and in Black Mountain, North Carolina, which is where I am under contract on a 2-bedroom, 1-bath A-frame on a lot that a developer has 2 lots there. He rebuilt 4 A-frames that were there and kind of completely renovated them. I think they're beautiful. If you've been on my social media, you can see 4 pictures of them. But I'm really into it. I've always liked A-frame. I lived in an actual A-frame in Sarasota, a big one, and I enjoyed it. But so the comparative price points are, this is in the 400-ish K instead of this like 650K range. And it comes with a lot less risk for me. And that's what I liked. And the usability was great for me because it's only 20-minute drive to Asheville. And I liked being in Asheville. The food was phenomenal. So I was able to get around pretty easily. The streets are tight. So I don't mind being 20 minutes away and in an area that's a little bit more filled with nature. And the cool thing about Black Mountain is it has a downtown. So my hopeful future short-term rental and opportunity property is just a very short walk or a stone's throw away from the downtown, which has independent coffee shops, cool stuff. It is very touristy. They had a full on like farmer's market, flea market while I was there. I was into it. And I really like it. It's a hippie vibe, which suits me. I've owned a couple properties in Woodstock in my life that my dad left me. And I just like the idea. So that's how I ended up with Black Mountain. Using systems to make a business work are kind of exciting to me because I'm a weirdo like that. So figuring out how to do it is going to be exciting to me. I've stayed in short-term rentals for the last 20 some odd years because I don't like hotels. So I have a lot of experience as a guest. I know what guests want. I'm taking a lot of input from people like Kenny Bedwell and Bill Faith on making videos. So I will fly up. No, I will not fly. I will drive up there again at or right after closing, hopefully at closing. And I will start knocking out videos on how everything works. So they have a one-to-one connection with me. They can see my face. They know that it's me operating it, not a company, even if I do have a co-host who's helping me. But I plan to make things very, very easy for the guests. I also plan to partner with local businesses in Black Mountain to create gift bags and stuff like that so I can drive traffic to them and become an asset to their community, not just a outside investor. And again, remember that's something that will set my investment and me apart to that community is I'm going to stay there, 1 or 2 months a year and progressively longer until I find another place in Asheville, probably if I really love it. But this is a great soft landing spot for me. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But I personally like it when I'm staying at a short term rental, when I get stuff from the area. When I went to Asheville, the host had 2 bags of chocolate chip cookies for me that she baked, and I demolished them in not very long. I should have taken longer, but they were really good. I'm not going to bake cookies because I'll probably screw them up, but I would like to find the place in town. And I did have a really awesome cookie in town now that I think of it at a coffee place, which maybe I'll remember the name, called like the Drippolator or something. But it was really good. And so I'm immediately going to go to try to partner with them to at least get one of their cookies on there, make sure that I can make a direct link. And the way that I think of investing now at this age and why I've always been interested in like Main Street type properties is because I want to help a community and I want to be part of a community, even as a non people person. Just because you hear a cool show on short term rentals doesn't mean it's going to fit your personality. But also, don't discount something just because you're not a people person and you think you can't do landlording this way. I'm going to prove that I can. I'm going to figure out the way to do hospitality the right way because I have a very good attention to detail. So I think that hospitality is going to be very important to me for someone who's now doing this on my own without the help of my sister. I'm pretty focused on making this a win and using it as a what we've called plenty of times on the podcast, a proof of concept for what I want to do in the future. So if I like this, then maybe I want to develop that land and buy it from the owner. If I like this, maybe I want to talk to somebody about trying to buy out that Super 8. There's a lot of opportunities there. And for me, the way that I look at a town like Black Mountain, I looked at the values in Asheville. This is 20 minutes away. It's definitely a little bit more rural, but the downtown is cool. Like it's independent and cool. So that's what I've always been good at is identifying towns. This doesn't mean I want you all to go buy property in Black Mountain, but it's where I'm going because I liked it. There's a lot of areas in this area that I think are weather resistant in states around here, off the coast, just for me personally, that I think could be a win. But again, if you look at how I'm doing this and how I've explained that it's a very safe investment for me, not too much can go wrong that would destroy it. I could have bought it cash, but there's no point to the payments at 2,400 a month will afford me the opportunity. I think it actually might even be less than that. So I don't have to make a ton of money. And I've looked at the numbers where they've made enough where I'd be at well more than break even. So if I do really good at what I do, I will be making money and getting the usage principle out of it when people aren't booking. And that's what's exciting to me.